I'm actually quite surprised that we are having this conversation, especially surrounding a name. Because even if you go back into the genesis of this conversation and even where this name Ameri is coming from, I mean, what's Ameri itself? Ameri itself, really, in the larger scheme of things, it was basically like a middleman entity that was used to procure, stuff that we could have even done directly as a people. And at the time, you are the energy ministry. You're actually a spokesperson, and you understand exactly what I'm saying. Now, 10 years down the line, or even more, even that, the very basis for that agreement has actually changed. As we speak now, who owns those gas turbines? Those gas turbines are owned by the state. It's owned by Ghana. And even for the last period that this thing were being operated in Takrady, it was being operated by a totally different entity, and Ameri in itself was actually nowhere near this particular operationalization of this particular plant. And then it becomes very necessary that with the increase in population and in terms of how densely populated the middle belt is, we need to be able to find a way of democratizing how we distribute our energy and decide that we need to relocate this particular plant into the region so that it will serve the purpose of supporting the people within that middle belt. I mean, honestly speaking, sometimes I struggle to understand the rationale behind some of the conversations that we have. I mean, for me, maybe we could have even used this platform to have a more comprehensive discussion on what is the way forward for us as a people when it comes to our energy needs going into the future. And then you can, as a political party on the side of the NDC, say that, okay, this is what we feel that we should do to forestall some of the challenges that in the last 15, 20 years, perennially, every 2-3 years, we seem to find ourselves with some kind of energy crisis. Then the people who will be watching us, who will be listening to us, will think that, well, as two main political parties, we are being progressive, we're elevating the discourse, because as far as people are concerned, it doesn't matter what the name is Ameri, KT, this, that. As far as the ordinary folk is concerned, they want their lives on. And so then that would dovetail into what we as a political party, what even the MPP flag bearer is proposing to be his vision for the energy sector. And this is a guy who says that, yes, I mean, with all the challenges that we face with the gas, the hydro, and all of those things, he believes that in the next chapter of this country, let's focus on solar and wind going into the renewable energy conversation. Then we'll say that, yes, I mean, it's doable, it's not doable. These are the pros and cons. This is how we'll be able to find the resources to invest in this space. And this is how it's going to support our conversation around the environment and making sure that when it comes to the whole conversation about the natural gas and all of these things that we all know that actually impact the environment negatively. Then even young people who will be listening to us, who are actually probably going to vote for the very first time, or who are even conscious about energy and the environment and how it would impact their futures, would think that we are doing something important as two major political parties. Otherwise, to be honest with you, if there are any challenges with either the procurement that was involved and the processes that it took into arriving at who should do that and all that, as a member of parliament and as a member of even the energy committee, I'm sure that you can find ways of actually making sure that whoever is responsible for this is actually brought to parliament to bring clarity to the conversation. But because I'm sure that we are either because we are in the political season, it's almost as if that everything becomes political fodder for us to overstretch and make it look like it's such a big, as far as I'm concerned. Everybody within the middle belt, Kumasi and all parts of the country, will be excited that as we speak, a decision has been taken to at least improve the services that come to them. And for me, sometimes we need to probably bring the conversation to that, the bread and butter conversation. As to what we say, sometimes I think it's way above the heads of persons that are supposed to be benefiting from some of these
why
things.
Why would we want a ceremony with the president in attendance to do that?
I mean, those are, I mean, for me, decisions that you can have issues with. But
I'm saying that because in terms of improvement in electricity supply, whether it is GridCo or it is ECG, they have projects across the country that they do all the time to improve electricity in different parts of the country. Now, what is it about this one that we're going to have a function, we have seen the flyers, a function with the president in attendance to come and do that? Because we know that normally you have these things when there's some monumental thing that is to be done. The GridCo has done projects even to help with the distribution of electricity even to neighboring countries. We don't have those kinds of events. They do all these things all the time. So what is it about this one?
Randy, I mean, for me, I think that we can, there's nothing wrong with questioning the rationale, but there's also nothing wrong with the president, who is the the commander-in-chief, to say that, well, this thing is happening in this part of the country, and I feel that I need to be able to interact with people of this country. The president can decide to go anywhere in this country and do whatever it is that he wants in terms of making sure that people understand and appreciate whatever it is that he's doing in every sector, right? And this is not the first time that something has been commissioned or something has been given or projected, regardless of whatever you think about it. I might have my personal, if you like, considerations when it comes to these things. But like I indicated, as far as the people are concerned, it doesn't matter if the president comes to commission or not, or is named this or that. They are most importantly interested in making sure that when they turn on, they flick the switch, the lights come on. We can have this conversation about really is it necessary to give it
no, I asked that question because I get the impression that there is a certain pretense about a political value, especially in an election year, with something like this. Because one, if you own plants, you own the plants, there was a BOT. You even forget about whatever anybody said about it. You own a plant. The BOT said that after 5 years, it becomes yours. It's become yours. You own it. You have 10 units of it. Each one is 25 megawatts. You decide that to improve electricity supply in the Middle Belt, because we have a growing consumption, I will take 6 out of these 10 and then go locate them somewhere else to improve electricity supply. That would be something routine to be done. So why would we want to have this fanfare with even a naming of it? It suggests that there is some value in renaming it, in making it a big issue, in having the president commission it. There must be some value. Otherwise, I have signed a contract. It's a BOT. The 5 years has lapsed. I own it. I've owned it. In fact, we've owned it from
2019.
Yes. So we've owned the thing for about 5 years. Since it was signed, we've owned it for about 5 years. They are there, 10 of them. We decide that we are going to pick 6 out of the 10 to go and fix in Ashanti region to improve electricity supply. That should be routine. That should be routine.
No, but Randy, I think that you have every right to those views. But all I'm saying is that even when it comes to this whole conversation around what is called, in reality, I don't think that apart from those of us here and a few people who are interested in the energy space, right? Anybody's really interested in what is called. You understand what I'm saying? Of course, for purposes of people in the sector and policy makers and all of those things, they would be interested to know where or the origins of some of these things and where this is situated and all of that. But in the final analysis, the reality is that it's a utility. It is a utility that people really don't feel that they have any need to be so concerned about. As far as they're concerned, like I've indicated severally, they want their lights on. When you sort of try to say that there's some kind of political leverage or some kind of mileage that would come out of it, yes, I mean, I'm sure that you can always nitpick and, I mean, do these things. But as far as I'm concerned, that's also the reason why the NDC are probably a bit jittery about it. You understand? So it's almost as if that we are all, if I'm being very honest, and I like to be objective on this conversation. Because apart from that, really, I don't really see the big deal in this conversation.